Die ark, weet jy wat? Die ark, hy was fisies daar, maar daar's 'n profesie in daardie ark. Ek het nou hier so 'n klein vierhoekie boksie gebruik. Dit is baie klein en ekseggend, maar 'n mens kan dit as 'n simbool gebruik. As ek nou iets wil illustreer, is daar sekere dinge ingesit. In hierdie geval is dit ons nou vierhoekies, maar sê maar dit was 'n staf. Die staf van Aaron wat gemaak is van amandelhout was binne die ark. En 'n mens sien, die ark het ook die vorm van 'n boks. Net baie wonderliker, maar dit is mos nou 'n simbool, nee, dit help 'n mens om iets te verstaan rondom die ark. Dit is 'n tipe kus. Die ark het dieselfde vorm van 'n boks of 'n kus. En as 'n mens in Hebreëus kyk, dan is die woord ark skakel daarmee, dis soos 'n tipe kus. 'n Kus wat sekere tekens van God dra, wat illustreer dat hy by hulle teenwoordig is en waardeur God se teenwoordigheid vir hulle veg en die pad oopmaak. Dit is 'n profesie van Jesus. 'n Fisiese simbool wat gebruik kan word om 'n begrip, 'n verstandelike begrip oor te dra, 'n geestelike begrip oor te dra. Die ark is 'n profesie op sigself. En in die res van die video, ek gaan nou hier aanlas, dit is in Engels, maar luister na die profesie van die ark, want al die beskrywings van die ark, in terme van wie dit gemaak het, in terme van waarvan dit gemaak is, dit is gemaak van doringhout, Jesus het met 'n doringkroon gestaan, is 'n profesie, wat vir jou verduidelik van die dood van Christus. Nou, die Lewiete het mos gestaan met die ark daar in die middel van die Jordaan, so die water oopgetrek het en hulle kon deurtrek. Die Jordaan in Hebreëus skakel met descent, afdaling, nê? Met ander woorde, die tipe van afdaling, waarheen gaan daal die mens af in die dood. Maar dit is oop en hulle kan deurgaan na die beloofde land. Ons kan, die dood word oopgebreek en ons kan deurgaan. Ten spyte van die bestaan van die sonde se straf van die dood, kan God deur die teenwoordigheid van die ark, die dood van Christus, vir ons 'n pad oopmaak in die beloofde land. Onthou, die volk het aan hierdie kant gestaan en hier is 'n skeiding tussen hulle en die beloofde land. Dis 'n skeiding tussen ons en die hemel. Wat? Die afdaling van die dood. Ons kan nie daaroor kom nie. Maar God het dit oopgemaak, sodat ons droogvoets kan deurloop. Hy het vir ons 'n pad gegee. En wat is in hierdie pad? Wat se teken is daar? Okay, nou nie hierdie nie, maar 'n fisiese teken van kus. Die ark. Dis die doodsgetuienis van Jesus is in die ark. Selfs dit waarvan die ark gemaak is gemaak van doringhout. Jesus het 'n doringkroon gedra. En dan die hele oortrek met goud en al die beskrywings, selfs die naam van die persoon wat dit gemaak het, is een uitgebreide profesie. God praat met jou in profetiese taal. Jesus het gesê, die skrif getuig van my, die ark getuig van sy dood. Hoor dit. Luister na die profesie van die ark. You must hear what God has done. The Ark of the Covenant is a physical prophecy. Well, this, of course, is not the Ark. It's something physical that can help you to understand something. The Ark's basic form is that of a type of box. In the Hebrew, you find that the word for the Ark ties with a type of a coffin, a box, something that is used for gathering. The word in the Hebrew for the Ark, it has a primitive root that means to pluck. And it is called the Ark of the Covenant and the Ark of the Testimony. Thus, the Ark is a physical sign in the form of a coffin. It has the name of a testimony of the covenant, the cutting thus, because covenant in Hebrew ties with cutting. It carries the testimony of being cut off in the form of a coffin, and it is part of the sign of God, whereby He leads and protects His people. Can you hear? And it is called the Ark of the Covenant and the Ark of the Testimony. The Ark of the Covenant, the root word for covenant, goes to cutting. Thus it is, the gathering coffin of cutting. Remember that Messiah was cut off, not for Himself, but for us. It is a sign of death. The gathering coffin has got a cover. It has got a cover that is called the mercy seat, seat of mercy and atonement. Who has covered the death verdict? Who has covered the lid of death for us? The wood that the ark would be made of, no, not this, but the ark was made of shittim wood. It's acacia wood. Thorns. It is made of the wood of thorns, wood ties with fastening in the Hebrew, and thorns with piercing. You see the sign of the gathering coffin made of thorns.
where was that fulfilled? But in Messiah, who stood with a crown of thorns gathered unto death, not for himself but for us, as Daniel said. See, the Ark of the Covenant. He has given us atonement, a cover, a lid. And we find that in the prophecy of the Ark sign, it was overlaid with gold. To overlay in the Hebrew means to lean over. It was overlaid with gold. Ties shimmer like gold. Golden as oil, fair weather. When Jesus was standing with his crown of thorns, being gathered unto death, it leaned over towards golden shimmering light. Remember when Jesus was being crucified and he had the crown of thorns, the gathering coffin of death made of shittim wood. It leaned towards the moment he breathed out, being gathered unto death. That leaned towards golden shimmering light when he breathed out. The darkness that was on the earth while he was hanging on the cross, the moment he breathed out at 3, the darkness was gone. And the gathering coffin of death, by his breathing out, was leaning towards, overlaid with golden shimmering light. See, the Ark of the Covenant sign that testifies what God has done in Messiah. It is the sign of the battle of God, whereby he has conquered death for us. In Jesus, it has a lid. On it is the cherub. On it is the sign of grace, and bringing forth the golden shimmering light, covering the coffin of the gathering of the cutting, whereby God has saved us, and God's battle has been won by him who has died and lives. It is the place where he is meeting us under the sign of the testimony of Jesus, whereby we can have atonement, as the coffin has a lid of mercy. We read that the person's name who has made the coffin is called Bezalel, the defense, the darkening, the sinking down of God who is mighty to turn. Jesus sunk into death. He is the anointed to be cut off, not for himself, but for us, fulfilling the sign of the covenant. And he is the one that has fulfilled the testimony of the ark. And he has breathed out his death, overlaid, leaned towards golden, shimmering light. See the ark and follow the testimony of Jesus. The sign of the ark is for you. God loves you.
Onthou julle, Jesus het gesê, die skrif getuig vir my, daar is skrikwekkende, magtige God, wat so lief is vir jou, wat op menslik onmoontlike maniere vir jou wil verduidelik, hoe jy kan leef. En geloof God, hy is lief vir jou.